Hey everybody, welcome to J Stern Designs. For Quick Tip Thursday, I just want to show you one of the many ways that you can sew a bust dart. I just shot the construction portion of my fitted shirt class and we did some darts, and I thought it'd be fun just to show a real easy beginner way to sew a dart. I think one of the important things to think about when you sew a bust dart is you want to make a really smooth and gradual transition as you get to the tip of your dart. I'm going to show you that when we sew the sample, but the other important thing about sewing a dart is how you press it. If you're going to take the time to sew a nice dart, it's equally important to press it properly. So we're going to use a ham, which is basically a hard, round, ham-shaped pressing tool that you can find at most sewing stores to press the dart without squashing it. So I'm going to show you how to use this ham, and I'm also going to show you a real simple, basic dart. So if you're new to shirts or you're new to sewing darts, this is like a really beginner way to do it. Here's my bust dart that I drew on this piece of fabric. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold it in half, and I'm going to show you how to pin it. Right, so you notice when I fold it in half, you can't really see where the other line is on the opposite side of the dart. So, you don't know for sure if your dart legs are lining up. I can match them up on the very edge of the fabric by looking like this, to see that they're matched up. But, to match it up the whole length of the dart, it's kind of challenging because you can't see it from this side of the fabric. So I'm going to show you an easy way to keep track of that. Now, when we sew this dart, we're going to start at the side seam edge and go towards the tip of the dart. So when we pin, we're going to pin with the points of our pins facing towards the side seam edge, because that way we'll be able to take them out easily as we start to sew. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to match up my dart legs at the very end. As I start pinning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pin right on the line like this, and then I'm going to pin back through right on the line like that. And what I want to do is make sure that I'm catching the other dart leg with my pins. And you can see that that lines up perfectly. Okay, so now I know if I sew on the line on the top side of my dart, I'm also going to accurately be hitting the opposite dart leg. So I'm just going to put in a few more pins along my dart leg. And again, I'm just going to pin on the line and pin on the line as I go through the fabric like that. And again, I'm going to check. And you can see I'm pretty nicely on the line. And I'm going to put one more. Okay, now you can see this is not perfect. Okay, so see, as I got to the dart leg, that's off about a 1/16 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that pin out, and I'm just going to roll it towards the back a little bit to lower the other dart leg a little bit. So literally I'm just rolling it to the back between my fingers, just gently. And let's try it again. Okay, let's see. All right, see how I'm right on now? Okay, let's go to the sewing machine and I'll show you a really easy way to sew this. Okay, so I'm going to set my stitch length on 3.0 millimeters, which is a nice length for clothing construction when you're working with shirting fabrics. It doesn't need to be a super short seam at this point, just a, a nice medium length stitch. And I'm going to start stitching. And I'm just going to, after I stitch the first few stitches, I'm going to just back tack a couple stitches to lock it. Okay, and then we're going to go. And I'm just going to stitch right on the line. And I'm going to take the pins out right as I'm coming to them. So to help it melt into the fabric, as you get to the point within a 1/2 inch, start to sew on the inside of the line. So you're sewing directly on the line most of the way. Start to sew on the inside of the line so you're just getting yourself as smoothly and gradually to the folded edge of the tip of your dart as you can get, and it'll just make it a little bit easier to gradually get off your fabric. So I'm going to switch from sewing directly on my line to sewing just to the inside edge of my line. And I'm also going to shorten my stitch length to 2.0 because that shorter stitch length won't come apart as easily and it'll hold nicely without having to back tack. And then we can loosely tie the ends after we're done sewing. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start stitching again, and I'm going to stitch on the inside of the line, just inside the line, and then I'm just gradually angling myself along the line till I sew off the line. Okay. All right. So you can see that I sewed very gradually and very smoothly to the tip of the dart. When you cut your threads, leave some tails so you can make a loose knot. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to give my dart some steam before I open it. And you can see I'm working on my curved surface, and I'm just going to finger press it like that. Then I'm going to open my dart up, and if you're working with a cup size that is a to C cup, you're going to press your dart shape down. And if you're working with a cup size that's D or above, you're going to press your dart shape up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fullness of my dart face up, and I'm going to play with the fabric and get it so it's laying along the curve of my ham so that it will support the shape of the dart. So I'm sort of using the side edge, and I'm just going to sort of lay it down until I'm happy with the support the ham is giving it. Okay, so then after I've got it in a good position, I'm going to steam it. And I'm not going to press the fabric with the surface of the iron. I'm just steaming it, and then I'm going to use my hand to press the seam only. I want to just steam the tip of my dart. Okay, and it's right, and then I'm just going to finger press it, and I'm using the curved shape of the ham underneath to flatten it without smashing it. See how that looks? And that will make your tip sort of melt right into the fabric. Now, if you're having trouble with it making a big ripple here, you can take the stitching out and try to stitch in a little bit more gradually. You're not going to notice in the fit of your bust if at the very tip of the dart you're, sewing just inside the line by, less than 1/16 of an inch, but that could make a difference in getting a smooth transition off the end of the fold of the fabric. So that's how I like to press my dart. And I basically will let it sit there and let it dry. Like if I added steam, I'll just let it sit for a second so it has a nice shape before I take my garment off. Okay, so then when that part is done, you just want to go in and tie a loose knot at the tip of the dart. You don't want to tighten it down so tightly that you ripple the fabric. You just want to tie a nice loose knot, and you want to do a square knot, so you want to do left over right and then right over left, and that will make a knot that won't slip open. So I'm just very loosely going to go left over right and then right over left. So that's a very loose knot. Let me look from the right side. See, I didn't cause it any pressure. Right, so that's how I sew and press a dart without smashing it. That was just one of many ways that you could sew a bust dart. If anybody wants to share their favorite way to sew a dart, please post it in the comment section below or visit my blog at jsterndesigns.com. I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial, and I'll see you next time.